We are very excited and grateful to have Maryam Thea Elijah with us today. Maryam Thea Elijah has been gratefully on the Sufi path for more than 20 years. She is also an acupuncturist and herbalist, hence her ongoing delight in exploring the intersection of spiritual practice and the principles of healing. She lives in Southern Vermont, and her home is a zawiyah for the last 3 days of every month, and a zawiyah is a center of spiritual retreat. Her teaching today is The Healthy and Holy Body. Maryam, welcome, and thank you for being with us today. Maryam, you are unmuted, so please unmute yourself.
Well, it's a good thing I have my rubber chicken because I do feel a little silly about that. Yeah, good. Thank you so much for the invitation. And to everybody who's listening now or in the future, thank you for the invitation into your heart. I appreciate it tremendously. Let's begin with the calling of the prophets, elongation of the name. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadun Rasulullah. Ibrahim Rasulullah. Musa Rasulullah. Isa Rasulullah. Alayhim salatullah. I'm speaking about the body in relation to both health and holiness. I'm speaking about it because there's often a great deal of confusion about the nature of the body, the role of the body, and what it means to have a holy relationship with our body. That confusion is not least because different writings say very different things that can seem like flat out contradiction, when in effect, we're talking about stages of a journey, and at different stages of the journey, different things are true. For example, there's the common phrase, the body doesn't lie. Many people have said that. Many people have heard that. However, in a certain station, for instance, what we call nafs al-amara, or the nafs that command to evil, when the body is taken over by shaitanic impulses, there are times when the body lies. The body lies when it is tainted, when it has been lied to and fallen for it. For instance, to pick a very light example, when you keep eating those potato chips, don't tell me the body doesn't lie and that you need those potato chips. No, your body has been lied to by a corporation that has done rigorous testing as far as how to create a combination that will convince your body that you've got to have more of their product. The body lies. a heroin addict, a smoker, an alcoholic who feels like she's got to have what her body is craving. Her body is lying because it's been lied to, and now it lies. An extremely painful example is racism, where people have been brought up a certain way, and then they feel in their bodies an aversion to certain other people. Their body is lying because it's been lied to. This is called conditioning. If we just trust our physical reactions, trust our body all of the time, we're going to get back what we were taught, and what we were taught might be a lie. So the journey of the nafs is the journey of exchanging lies for truth and cleaning our body until it is the mirror of God. So I just said the word nafs, and it's important to clarify the relationship between the nafs and the body before going on. What is the nafs? And what is the relationship between the nafs, the body, and the spirit? You can find this material in many places in Siddhi's books. For example, Spirit's Path to Joy, page 143. And I'm happy to give my notes to anybody who wants them so that you don't have to write things down. Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "Your bitterest enemy is your nafs between your two sides." The two sides are the body and the spirit. The nafs is an intermediate because it does not belong exclusively to the body or to the ruh, the spirit, but it is configured by the breath and animates the body. Unquote. So the nafs has two sides, ruh and body, like a coin, heads and tails. The story of the spiritual journey as described by the 7 stations of the nafs is that the nafs is one thing, part ruh and part mudball, that can exist in different stages of the journey. At all times, the nafs is both spirit and body, but who's in the driver's seat? Heads or tails? Or which way is the seesaw tipping? This is very important because it's not just a matter of percentages. It's way more dynamic than that. The body's corrupt, addictive inclinations can degrade the spirit, as we see in Nafs al-Amara. Or the spirit's revelation can transform the body into a place where the truth can manifest. From Secrets of the Heart, page 14, the body is a vehicle for the heart, and its provision is knowledge. A worshiper cannot reach Allah except by inhabiting the body and passing through the lower world. The heart gains its provision from this world and rides in the vehicle of the body to arrive in the other world. Although it cannot maintain that body forever, it must preserve it to the best of its ability in order to achieve its purpose, because the body can bring you your greatest fortune. And from Path of Yearning to Taste the Love, page 21, the human substance contains the secret of the soul of the spiritual world and the creative pictures of the world of the body, because the body is not alienated. Its purpose is to reach beyond the world of the body, and the strengths of its faculties qualify for higher levels of divine knowledge. But its purpose is not only to embrace spirituality, because the nafs does not yearn for spirituality except after spiritual practices or exercises due to its ignorance of it. But its purpose is to become a single presence, which includes the sensory as well as meanings, the manifest as well as the hidden, the subtle as well as the gross, the lofty as well as the low. So that's where we're headed. But that's not how the journey begins. Let's start at the beginning in the first station, Nafs al-Amara, which is the station of the body listening to the shaitan with its inclinations and incitements to evil. We come to the path with a body that lies, that has been listening to the father of lies. And in this station, we cannot follow our body's inclinations as though they were truth, because our body is wanting things that are not necessarily good for us or for anybody. Nafs al-amara is when your body is saying, I want this and I'll have it because it's what I want. There's no heart in the matter. There's no human kindness. There's no consciousness except for, this is what my body wants. I'm going to go get it, even if it's raping a child. Pollution of the planet comes from here. The slave trade came from here. Date rape comes from here. When purely physical benefit is all we want, there's no room for the heart. The body is saying, that's going to feel good, and we're just listening to that voice. The body lies. That body is a dangerous body to listen to. When our body is in the station of nafs al-amara, what we want is not just not good for us. It's actually a pollutant that will further obscure our heart, that will actually make it more difficult to know Allah. Every time we follow the inclinations of purely physical desire without heed to the spiritual context, just because we know it's going to feel good to take another toke or pour another drink, we're doing something that puts even more filth on the mirror of the heart and makes it harder and harder for us to be able to hear the truth of the heart within our body. So it's more than just not good. It's dangerous. It's pernicious. It's dragging us down in a significant way. Thus, when we're looking at the body in the station of the nafs al-amara, it is appropriate to speak about the body and its claims with a good bit of fire and brimstone about it. These are the evils of the body. It's horrendous what people do to each other and to children when under the command of these desires. So in this station, we need to accept that there may be some harsh language to separate us from our body's inclinations and make it 100% clear. Don't follow the leader. That's not your true leader. Your body is lying and it will lead you astray. This is exactly why it says that for nafs al-amara, its warid or light of arrival is the sharia. When you don't know any better, follow the sharia. Just obey. If the law says do it, do it. If the law says don't do it, don't do it. Because in this station, you do not yet have common sense in your body. There are patterns in the body that must be broken before the light of the ruh can be felt. Spirit's Path to Joy, page 167. So, my beloved, awaken from the forgetfulness that has destroyed you, put you in a lowly position and demeaned you. Turn toward what you absolutely need and draw near through good action before you are taken to his presence in chains. Unquote. This can be an important revelation at the beginning of spiritual path. Whoa, my body can lead me astray. And to be able to have that first realization of a little bit of a difference between my spirit and my body. Not to just follow every inclination and impulse. My body may be leading me astray. Music of the Soul, page 111. You need to change and clean everything, beginning with your body. This realization is what brings us into the nafs al-lawama, the blameworthy or self-reproaching nafs, which is the state when our body is still filled with pollution and craziness and lies, but we know it. We see our racism. We see our cravings. We see our aversions. We're aware that we're caught in conditioning, full of pictures and easily triggered in both positive and negative ways. Spirit's Path to Joy, page 169. Some traces of the commanding nafs remain, but in spite of this, it sees truth as truth and falsehood as falsehood. Even though it knows that these qualities are blameworthy, it is not able to free itself from them. However, note how much better this is than the nafs al-amara, where the nafs command to evil, and we just go ahead and do it. Here in nafs al-lawama, we may or may not still go ahead and do it. But we know it's pollution. We know it's not healthy. We're maybe saying, oh, I wish I weren't like this. I wish I hadn't eaten that thing. I wish there wouldn't be an advertisement for donuts right there on my way to work where I have to see it every day. Because this nafs al-lawama, this is the station of struggle and discipline, where we are emphasizing the difference between who we really are, the heart that knows and yearns for the love of God, and our body with its lies. This is the station where Siddhi exhorts us to take on physical disciplines like moderate fasting, or halwa, where we stay up at night, where we're past when we're comfortable. In the station of al-lawama, Spirit's Path to Joy, page 183, Siddhi speaks about not eating the foods that you crave and, quote, weaning yourself from excess and negligence with all of your different appetites. It's a way of inventorying. Who's in charge around here? My body or my ruh? What does my heart, she say? Can I hear it over the conditioned habits, reflexes, and cravings of my body? Note, this is not a way of saying the body is bad and I'm going to dissociate from it. This is very important, because dissociation is not the same as cleaning. What we have dissociated from is still there, like an invisible ball and chain. What we want to do is clean the falsehood out of our body so that our body can become a mirror of our heart and soul and secret. Praising God. So the station of nafs al-lawama is a kind of getting to know ourselves phase in which we actually begin to start feeling out which of my physical impulses are in alignment with my heart's increasing awareness of Allah, and which are pulling me out of awareness of Allah. So much of what's in our body in this stage is our conditioning. We are cleaning our conditioning, cleaning our body's pictures so that our heart can hear the order of Allah and follow it. In the station of the Nafs al-Lawama and Spirit's Path to Joy, Siddhi talks 3 times about the body as a prison. Very strong term. It's a very strong term. It's a prison of conditioning and habits and intense entanglements with the sensory world, including all kinds of pleasures. And it's not that there's a problem with pleasure per se. There is a problem with pleasure that makes us go, ooh, ooh, to the point where we are not listening to our heart and not listening for the order anymore. We're just, ooh, I'm going to buy that necklace because it's so beautiful. I'm going to eat that piece of cake. It looks delicious. But we haven't actually checked in with our heart. What makes it a sin is when you jump for it because your body wants it, but you didn't connect with your heart to find out, is this really what's right for me, Allah? This is a path of alignment and attunement to Allah's promptings. To call this kind of pleasure a distraction is a very mild and gentle term, because too often distraction can become entanglement that keeps us from hearing the voice of Allah in our heart, keeps us from even wanting to stop and listen. Hence, all the teachings about distrusting our pleasures and distrusting our preferences and creating some space around what we enjoy so that we're not on automatic and so that we can check in. Remember that hadith of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, beware of what you love that is not good for you. Beware of what you hate that may be what you need. That may sum up the second station of the nafs al-lawama. It's a rigorous station. We are working our way out of conditioning quicksand. We are mostly full of lies and craziness, with just a little bit of compass in there to guide us as we bushwhack our way through what is called breaking our body. In Spirit's Path to Joy, page 180, Sidi says that the station of the heart is towards the end of the second station of the nafs al-lawama. In Music of the Soul, it's in the stations of the heart that Sidi says so much about breaking your body. And I want to talk about that because it's very relevant and sometimes misunderstood. When Sidi says, when I say break your body, I mean clean your body. Music of the Soul, page 111. Amina Al-Jamal clarifies that when Sidi says break your body, he doesn't just mean clean your body, or he would just say clean your body. When he says break instead of clean, he means clean to the point where it is really and truly over and there is no going back. End quote. The task of the station of the nafs al-lawama is about breaking your body, cleaning it to the point where it's really and truly over and there's no going back, so that it doesn't have a stranglehold on your ruh, so that the majority of the seesaw is tipped towards the ruh. And the true captain of your ship is your heart's connection with Allah. Now, it's in this second station, it's in this nafs al-lawama that we have the discussion of the difference between the path of the righteous and the path of the ones brought near. The path of the righteous are lovely. The path of the righteous are the ones who are eating their vegetables because they know that they should eat their vegetables, and they're getting exactly the right kind of exercise and the right amount of exercise because they know that it's good for them. And they're doing all these things that are the right thing in order to be healthy. And this is good. Allah blesses people doing the right thing and cleaning the body for the sake of being healthy, basically for the sake of the garden rather than the fire, right? We're eating right so that we feel good and look good, so that we don't feel terrible and look terrible. We're doing all these things, this cleaning of the body, for the sake of the garden, not the fire. And the path of the righteous, al-abrar, basically stays in the second station because there's always something coming down the pike for the righteous to kind of knock them off. And then they work on coming back again so that they can be in the garden, not the fire. The path of the ones brought near is the path of the ones who eventually will leave the second station and progress, inshallah, through the other stations into greater and greater proximity. The path of the ones brought near is to be doing this cleaning of the body and becoming healthy, not for the sake of avoiding the fire or being in the garden of health, but for the sake of clearing all of the static from the body so as to be able to hear Allah and know Allah unimpeded, unencumbered, undistracted. That's when we move to the nafs al-muhama, the third station of the nafs. the inspired nafs. In the nafs al-mulhama, we certainly have not fully cleaned our body. It's not broken completely. We still want those potato chips on certain days, just not most of the time anymore. We still lapse sometimes and binge on something that our body wants, but that's not actually what will take us closer to our heart's desire of union with our beloved. But we're mostly pretty good in this station. We're better than not. And often we're pretty cool. And we start to feel like, I've got this. Now we're at the point where, at least most of the time, when our body is telling us something, it's right. We start having clear guidance through our body intuitions that lead us exactly where we need to go. The body no longer lies. Mostly. I think somebody needs to be muted. Okay. Yeah. It's very beautiful when we see this in martial artists and certain athletes, even in my housemate who has gotten to the point where he actually likes the taste of vegetables. It's very beautiful. He is now detoxed enough that he likes kale. And it's such a beautiful moment to be in that state of, oh, his body can be trusted to lead him like a true compass. However, Siddhi calls it a dangerous station because it's a bit euphoric to feel that freedom from the prison of our old unhealthy inclinations. Now we have a greater integrity. Our heart is by and large running the show. Phew. We are by and large a servant of Allah. Alhamdulillah. Our pleasure is a very different kind of pleasure. It feels wholesome and even holy. We start to relax into that and we start to trust it. We may start just knowing things through our body and believing it and being able to navigate by it. It's such a good feeling with such good results that here's why it's dangerous, or can be. We start getting used to trusting our navigation. We may not be on guard anymore for the fact that we still have conditioning. We still have temptations. We still have unhealed wounds, such that we get triggered, possibly without even knowing that we're triggered, because we now buffer it much more smoothly. And we may believe that our inclinations are actually guidance rather than prejudice. When we're feeling so good, we might not recognize that we're triggered, often very gently and persuasively, based on pictures and lies still tarnishing the mirror of our body. And so we can end up in delusion. This is all those stories of the inspired ones who reach great heights, but who are then corrupted or deluded or have a downfall because they did not continue to wage holy war on their conditioning. Keep cleaning their pictures, heal the wounds, and really look at their areas of temptation in the world of the body. Yeah. So that's the body of nafs al-mulhama, where you are genuinely inspired. You genuinely have a much more clean compass, but don't get arrogant. Don't stop. Don't stop. And next, in order to understand the body in relation to the transition from the third to the fourth station, we need to look more closely at the issue of sensory reality and its entanglements. I am only just starting to feel as though I'm having some understanding of this. And if there's time to talk about it more, I have a lot to say. But for now, to give a basic around this, what I'm understanding at this point, I'm going to step out of the movement from the third to the fourth station and step back and give a little bit of a panorama of just talking about sensory entanglement, sense our relationship to sensory reality, give the whole picture. Starting in the first station, Nafs al-Amara, where there's nothing except the outer sensory world is real. For most people, it's just like a tree is a tree and a car is a car and everything just is what it is. Physical sensory reality. And what I believe I notice is that for most people, what helps us transition from the first to the second station with regard to the senses and the realities beyond the senses is being in nature. We can feel with our heart that the tree is more than just a material tree. We can feel with our heart that the river is more than just H2O with momentum. Out in nature, we often receive the first awakenings of heart-centered perception. This makes sense because it is said that nature is Allah's first holy book. And when we're out in nature, we are reading the ayat of Allah. There are sounds and sights and fragrances, but there is something more. There are messages coming to us from the inner senses. Spirit's Path to Joy. Second station, we're moving now to the second station as far as senses, page 183. Know that the heart has a side facing the world, which is under the governance of the five senses. And it does not know anything of this world except through these senses. The heart also has a side facing the unseen hidden world, which is the world of Malakut. Whenever you turn towards the seen world with your five senses, you turn away from the unseen world. And whenever you cut off your five senses, you turn towards the unseen world. In the beginning, you cannot turn to both sides at the same time. Whenever you turn toward one side, the other side becomes absent. And there's a big difference between the two worlds. So in the second station, we're learning not to stop with the outside picture, which is the body saying, this tastes good, give me more. Let's chop down that tree, burn it. And instead turn to hear with the inner ear of the heart for Allah's decree, which may be saying, don't do it. Or yes, go ahead, beloved. And this is how we overcome our habits as a prison that needs to be broken. Now, in the third station, it gets a bit more confusing with regard to sensory entanglement for two reasons. One, we start to have periods of fana when we are absent from our senses. Two, we are increasingly able to be aware of both sensory and non-sensory worlds at the same time, which means that we can get mixed up sometimes. What might be called extrasensory phenomena can become more prominent and can affect our body as strongly or more strongly than physical sensory experience. We may, for instance, be terrified of jinn or seduced by miracles. It's an intermediary zone in which we are in a quasi-sensory reality full of images and sounds and smells and tactile experiences, which can be very pleasurable or very horrifying. This can be very hard on our body. And again, the solution is to turn to Allah. Easier said than done when demons are eating your stomach or something like that. But to turn towards the essence, away from the sensory or even extrasensory experience. Allah, 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 inshallah. The sensory experience clarifies and fuses in the transition into the fourth station, nafs al-mutma'ina, such that we are perceiving via the qualities directly from Allah, rather than through the physical senses alone. Music of the Soul, page 227. The human being receives the divine abundance through the perfect mind, through thought, al-fikr, inspiration, al-ilham, and seeing. Through these capacities, he can transform his animal nature into kindness and humanness, and rid himself of the darkness, and rescue himself from the grossness. So his body becomes purified of this darkness, and his mind is purified of imagination. That's that extrasensory stuff. And he becomes brilliantly lit by the light of life and realization. These capacities, which are the centers of perception, hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, and touching, are his assets. Without them, nothing of the pure heart would appear on the outside, and he could not realize the light and truth of his life. Understand. Understand, beloved, that without the quality of hearing, hearing would be impossible, or without the quality of seeing, the human being would not see the truth of the pictures. Only through the inner seeing can he see truly. If he didn't have the quality of touch, he could not feel solid objects and be sure of their existence. Without the quality of taste, he could not taste the meaning of words and what they refer to. Without the quality of smell, he could not smell the odor of revelation and its goodness, nor the smell of our beloved God and the subtle breezes of his love. Through the outer senses, we can realize the meanings and the secrets of our bodies and our lives in the human rank. End quote. This is the nafs al-mutma'ina, the station of tranquility, which is the place where you love your veggies in exactly the right way, in exactly the right amount, and your body really doesn't lie. This is coming much closer now to what Sidi means when he says things like Music of the Soul, page 57, there is no more body because your body is broken. Music of the Soul, page 61, when you are in this station, there is no body because you have lost your body. It has become completely light. Keep your body special for God. Your body is his, and you are his mirror. Music of the Soul, page 67, you can touch every quality with your whole body, but your body must change in everything and begin to walk to be born again, giving birth to a new soul. Then you begin to be clean and alive and to show your true self. End quote. Your body hasn't really disappeared. You still got to put on clothes when you walk down the street or you will get arrested. You still have a body. When Sidi says your body has disappeared, he means that not only does your body no longer lie, but it is a mirror for your heart and your soul, and eventually your secret, such that you are able to be a living manifestation of the tajalli of God. When our body is in the station of the nafs al-mutma'ina, we are a truthful one. We love what is good for us and we hate what is not good for us. We are clear. We're not triggered, not conditioned. We are not just acting healthy. We are healthy. Our body does more than just not lie. It's a body that reflects divine truth. What happens next is difficult for me to describe, even though I have studied the teachings, because I certainly don't live there yet. I'm kind of halfway up the mountain, but on a sunny day when there are no clouds, I catch glimpses and fragrance from what the next fana may mean. What happens next has something to do with the difference between health and holiness. To be healthy, we need to clean the pictures, clean the delusions and lies. To be holy, we need to clean or break our health, not in the sense of destroying our health, not in the sense of destroying our health, though that may happen. We need to break our health in the sense of going beyond it. In these next stations, 5, 6, 7, progressively, our body no longer defines or limits our consciousness in any way, not because we are ignoring our body, but because we have effaced it fully. I need a metaphor to grasp this. So to grasp it, I wrote a little children's story. I'll read it to you. I'll give it to you. A horse and an eagle were friends. The horse was a very fine horse, and the eagle was a very fine eagle. In fact, they both strove to be the very finest horse and the very finest eagle that they could possibly be. The horse spent a lot of time eating fresh grass and cantering from one end of the field to the other and swishing its tail or shivering its skin to get rid of flies. The eagle spent a lot of time repairing its nest, soaring around looking for mice and other small animals in the horse's field, and defending its territory from other large birds. One day, at the same moment, when the horse was running across the field and the eagle was soaring high overhead, the friends felt an illumination come to them. Watching the horse running, the eagle suddenly understood that being the finest horse possible was a prison for the horse. That even the highest standard of excellence in horseness was still just being a horse, trapped in the perspective of the horse, when there was so much more to life and the universe and beyond. Meanwhile, watching the eagle soar overhead, the horse was having the same insight about the eagle. Suddenly, it seemed so limited to be an eagle, even the finest possible eagle. In fact, it seemed like a prison to spend a lifetime doing nothing more than strive to excellence in such a narrow domain, when beyond soaring and nest building and mouse hunting was the vastness of so much more than just eagleness. Shaken, the two friends came together at the edge of the forest to share their new awakenings. Since they had both received the same illumination, neither of them felt hurt or diminished in any way by the notion that their eagleness or horseness were in fact a kind of defining prison that kept them from knowledge of an infinite existence. They were able to reassure each other that being the very finest horse and the very finest eagle, though wonderful in its way, was ultimately a dead end as far as true knowledge of the oneness of being. For that, the horse must live beyond horseness, and the eagle beyond eagleness. The eagle understood that there was nothing inherently wrong with hunting mice all day or keeping an eye out for nesting material. It just wasn't as important as it seemed back when being the best possible eagle was the entire goal of the eagle's existence. The horse also understood that it was not necessary to enjoy the endless barrage of flies on hot days, nor was it necessary to renounce the eating of fresh, cool grass after the rain. But it was necessary to open beyond the previously engulfing significance of these concerns into an awareness that held grass and flies to be of relative unimportance in the vastness of consciousness, beyond the eagle, beyond the horse, beyond the bodies contingently existent, but no longer defining form. This is, as I understand it, the journey of the body in the stations of the nafs 5, 6, 7, the journey of effacement of our humanity, so that even while in human form, we can increasingly live from the knowledge of the truth from beyond the human perspective. Although very few of us may currently be living in these lofty stations, it's an inspiration for our journey and gives us insight into what it means to have a healthy and holy relationship with our body every step of the way. This is the aim. This is what the work is for. That begins with listening to our heart, not to potato chip cravings. It's an encouragement to do our most basic practices, like making dhikr, really in our body, not just floating away into the imaginal realms. Allah, 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 Allah. But right here, Allah, Allah, Allah. Feeling the echoes and reverberations of the name in our heart. Allah, in our whole torso. Allah, in our arms and legs. Allah, in our blood and our brain. Allah, Allah, Allah. Cleaning the darkness with light, cleaning the lies with the truth of the name. Allah. It's like tuning an instrument and keeping it in tune so that our body can carry the message, the song of Allah. I will finish by reading again 2 quotations from the beginning, from Secrets of the Heart, page 14. The body is a vehicle for the heart, and its provision is knowledge. A worshiper cannot reach Allah except by inhabiting the body and passing through the lower world. The heart gains its provision from this world and rides in the vehicle of the body to arrive in the other world. Although it cannot maintain that body forever, it must preserve it to the best of its ability in order to achieve its purpose, because the body can bring you your greatest fortune. Path of Yearning to Taste the Love, page 21. The human substance contains the secret of the soul of the spiritual world and the creative pictures of the world of the body, because the body is not alienated. Its purpose is to reach beyond the world of the body, as the strengths of its faculties to qualify for higher levels of divine knowledge. But its purpose is not only to embrace spirituality, but its purpose is not only to embrace spirituality, because the nafs does not yearn for spirituality except after spiritual practices or exercise due to its ignorance of it. But its purpose is to become a single presence, which includes the sensory as well as its meanings, the manifest as well as the hidden, the subtle as well as the gross, the lofty as well as the low. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. La ilaha illallah Akbar. It seems quite delightful to me that what is happening next is going to be a dhikr, because we can actually take this whole teaching into a dhikr and really feel for, whoa, Can I take the name, all of the names, and clean my body? Abdullah, what do you think? Do we go from here into dhikr, though it be 6 minutes early?
We can do that, definitely. We could take some questions or reflections if you wish. What would you prefer?
It's up to you.
I think that there's probably some reflections in this group. So if you have a question or reflection, raise your hand and we'll call on you. No, yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Hello, iPhone.
iPhone, you're first. So go ahead
Oh,
and
pardon
unmute
me. I'm
yourself.
so sorry. Assalamu alaikum. I didn't realize my
iPhone,
name wasn't up there. My name is Latifa, and thank you so much for this teaching. It's really beautiful the way that you laid it out. My question is, when you have a teenager who is very much delighting in the pleasurable things of life and discovering those things that are not at all taking them closer to their deep heart's longing, I'm wondering what would be the approach to having more nature in their life and having more of these things that naturally bring us closer to our deep heart rather than kind of talking and lecturing around these things. I'm not sure if my sentence makes, or if my question makes sense.
Yes, it does. It's a
Thank you.
large domain. I am reminded of the Prophet's teachings on raising children, that for the first 7 years, you play with them. You be the most fun person they know.
Mhm.
From age 7 to 14, you teach them skills of self-mastery. So this is where naturally most of the teachings about how to pray, how to find your heart, how to discern between the different voices comes most naturally, because children are trying to figure out, like, how do I work this thing?
Mhm.
And then the teaching is from 14 to 21, you befriend them.
Mhm.
So you are not your child's teacher anymore. Then that needs to be accepted. They are not looking to you for teachings anymore. You know what it's like to be taught by somebody who thinks they're your teacher, but you have not decided that this person is your teacher.
Mhm.
Now imagine the same person who thought that they were your teacher, but you don't want them as a teacher.
Mhm.
Let's go of being your teacher and just decides to be your friend, to get to know you, to have conversations in which you get to know each other,
Mhm.
exchange experiences, reflect on how it feels to be you, what you've discovered about your life, not as a lecture, not as a like, you should do this too, but just here's what I'm noticing. I had a really rough day. And you know what I did? I went for a walk in the woods and I felt so much better. What have you been doing today? What helps you feel better? Like really, really, you're not the teacher anymore. It's too late for that. But it is not too late to be the friend. That's my reply on that one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish I had this 7 years ago, but I'll take it now, inshallah.
It's not too late to be the friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Latifa. Really wonderful question. Muhammad, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for being here and for attending this marvelous dose of teaching, mashallah. My question is about your opinion about something like the sway test and muscle testing, sway tests and muscle testing, and things that I've learned in many schools of healing,
Right.
like kinesiology and similars. They rely a lot on muscle testing and sometimes a sway test where the body moves forward or backward.
Right.
And now that you said that sometimes the body lies, So
Right.
this is, yeah, what do you think about this?
My experience, which is not infinite, my experience, which is what it is that a great deal depends on the alignment of the practitioner. And that well, sometimes I confess I have been in this position. Sometimes inherent bias in the practitioner will sway results. Astaghfirullah, I've done that. The level and the layer of the alignment and clarity of the practitioner can be speaking to the layer of the client that does not lie. So when muscle testing is done well, when this testing is done well, it is done well because the alignment of the one asking the question is asking the question of the layer of the person that is truthful. This is my experience for what it is worth.
Yes, alhamdulillah, this is very insightful. Thank you very much, alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Muhammad. And Rahmana, you will have our final question. Please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank
Alaikum
you so much.
assalam.
You had mentioned something about notes sort of in the beginning, and I was wondering if it might be possible to get some notes.
Yes, I wonder what is the best way to do that.
Send them to me. I'll attach them to the recording.
Okay, that sounds great. I can do that very easily. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bloody long. It's like 9 or 10 pages or something like that, but it's yours.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Rahmana. That is our conclusion for today of the teaching. Maryam, is there any final words you would like to say or leave us with?
Alhamdulillah. My final words are really take your chance. Make thicker in your body. Don't float away. Really move it through so that your body, it's a mosque. And you can't clean the mosque unless you're in the mosque. And sometimes it's uncomfortable at first to be in a mosque that hasn't been cleaned. But this is how we clean it. And what's happening right now, what's coming right up, this is a marvelous time to whoosh, move it through your blessed or pre-blessed, either way, body. And thank you very, very much to everything that brought all of us here. Alhamdulillah.